This is creative burnout. These are the three things that I feel like lead to creative burnout, and this is what causes those three things. Welcome to Monday Mornings with Kyle Reed, the only weekly show with a host who works 3 different creative jobs but still has yet to be burnt out after 8 months of doing it. Knock on wood. I have been a creator for almost half of my life. Most of my waking hours is spent creatively thinking, and I've experienced burnout multiple times in my life as a creator and an artist. So when Nathan asked me here, he says, do you have any advice for people who are struggling creatively, like when it comes to motivation or figuring out where and when to start a new hobby? In addition, how do you deal with creative burnout? I figured I'd have a unique perspective on this. I'm gonna be focusing more on creative burnout. However, the first part of the question does kind of tie into the second part here. Let's break down this diagram, okay? Class is in session. If you're setting unrealistic expectations for yourself, you have like crazy deadlines, you're trying to achieve too much, you're gonna feel overworked, which then you're gonna feel burnt out. If you don't have a deeper purpose of why you are creating, you're kind of just creating just to create, that's gonna cause a lack of purpose, which is then gonna cause burnout. If you don't know where you are going, your next steps are kind of unclear, that's gonna lead to lack of direction, which is then gonna lead to creative burnout. This one typically happens in my experience after a large project. After I did this thing called Car Seat Headrest Week on my music review channel, I uploaded 7 videos in 7 days, all revolving around the band Car Seat Headrest. It was a huge project that I spent months on, while also continuing to upload regularly. After that project was done, I didn't know what to do. Most of my thought process was wrapped up in these 7 videos that I was creating for months, and then eventually it came out, and then I felt lost. Same thing happened after I released the boxing documentary. I've been working on this project for a very long time. The project is out there, and I don't know what to do next. No other way to put it, I just feel burnt out. We're gonna shift over here to overworked. Unrealistic expectations. I felt this before when I first dropped out of college to pursue YouTube. I didn't really have a clear schedule of what I was doing. Like I knew I needed to upload a video every single week, but I didn't really have clear steps to do that. I was setting these expectations for myself without having a way of achieving these expectations in a realistic manner, which then led me to feel overwhelmed, overworked, and then eventually I burnt out and I had to take some time off to really then hone in on what I was planning on doing. No deeper why. I don't know if I really felt this one a whole lot, but I can totally see how this would lead to creative burnout. If you don't have that purpose, if you don't really have a deeper why of, why am I creating this content? I know why I'm creating music. I know why I'm creating videos, and that helps me kind of stay on track and kind of prevents creative burnout. This is the diagram. Study it carefully. I'm gonna throw this away for a second because I got some more notes in my notebook here. I really took some time here to think about this question deeply, Nathan, so I really appreciate you asking this. So now that I've gone over kind of the reasonings for creative burnout, let's talk about how to prevent it. We're gonna go with overworked first. What I did when I was feeling overworked, I was setting these unrealistic expectations. I didn't really know how to achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve. I took some time off, and I took some time off to figure it out. You gotta figure out how you can create on a schedule that works for you. How do you create the schedule for you? What is your goal, right? So you gotta have this goal in mind. And the goal is, 1 video a week, 1 song a month, 20 pages a day. It's gotta be a numeric goal that you can hit on a timeline basis. If you want to do 1 song a month, that is an attainable goal that you can set for yourself, and you can set a schedule based on that attainable goal. So after you have your goal set, you're going to craft a schedule around that goal, and you're going to want to be realistic about this, right? So here's a good example of this. Almost a year ago on my music review channel, I set the goal of doing 2 videos a week, and that wasn't a very realistic goal. That led to very quick burnout because I didn't really have a realistic schedule based on that goal. 1 video a week is a very realistic goal, and you could easily set a schedule based on that goal, saying on this day I'm gonna film, this day I'm gonna edit, this day I'm gonna do that. So how do you kind of set this realistic goal? Well, you're gonna think back on your habits as a creator in the past. I consider myself to be a very structured, creative person. Almost every single project I do has these outline steps in my brain. And so when I think back on previous projects and previous timelines and previous habits that I've had as a creator, it helps me kind of develop a goal that I can hit, and then also a schedule to hit that goal. So you're also going to create your goal based on your previous output level. So you don't want to be only creating 1 video a month and then all of a sudden you're going to go, yeah, I'm going to create 1 video a week. If you were creating on a 1 video a month schedule and you were feeling burnt out because you're feeling overworked, you want to keep your 1 video a month goal, but then create a structure around that so you can hit the 1 video a month goal in a very healthy way. I feel like at the end of the day, if you're feeling overworked, you're either truly doing too much to the point where you shouldn't be doing it anyway, or you're doing just enough, but you just don't have a good structure to achieve just enough. So that's this, right? We're gonna jump over. We're gonna talk about lack of direction. This typically happens to me, like I said, after a long project that has taken me a long amount of time to do. I think the worst thing to do when you're feeling a lack of direction is to take time off. You need to figure out your direction. And I think the only way that you can figure out your direction, or at least this is how it's worked for me, you kind of just stumble into the next thing. There's some sort of book, I think it might be Atomic Habits, I actually don't know. One of my friends quoted it and then I kind of stuck with it, but I don't know what the actual quote is. But you're basically in the explore phase where you're kind of exploring a bunch of ideas and then eventually you'll stumble into the next idea. So after I created my boxing documentary, I had this huge fucking hit of lack of direction. I spent 4 or 5 months making this big ass documentary that I was super excited about. And then once I launched it, I just didn't know what to do next. I didn't create anything until eventually I decided, okay, this is not good for me. And I started creating on my music channel again. I created a video for this channel. I was doing some work with Jack Ultra, if you guys know who that is. Shout out to Jack Ultra, really cool guy. But eventually I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna go all in on the music channel. And I kind of went ham on the music channel, which then led to the second half of last year where I was just creating banger videos for the music channel. And then I experienced a lot of good growth on the music channel. But that would not have happened if I was just, after the boxing documentary, was like, well, fuck, I don't know what to do. And I just sat there trying to figure it out, doing nothing. You can't figure out your next step if you're not actively trying to find your next step. So I wrote down here, some of my best ideas come in the middle of other ideas. Explore, explore, explore. If you're feeling burnt out creatively and you think it's because you have a lack of direction, keep exploring. Don't stop creating. You know, it might sound like bad advice if you're feeling burnt out to not take a break, but don't take a break. Just try new things and eventually you'll stumble into the next big idea that's good for you. So let's talk about lack of purpose here. Not having a reason why you're creating content will lead to you feeling like you don't have purpose for your content, which will lead to creative burnout. I think it was Samir from Colin and Samir who said, well, yeah, shout out Colin and Samir. The definition of burnout is creating without a purpose or something like that. You're gonna think about a few things and I'm gonna give you guys some prompts to think about. So write this down, okay, class? You're gonna think about why you started creating in the first place. You started this endeavor of being an artist, creating videos, making music, painting. You started this creative endeavor for a reason. Think about why you started creating. So my overarching why is to basically just to inspire people, to make people watch me, listen to me, and go, if this guy can do it, why can't I do it? That's my kind of deeper why. And then what are you going to create to achieve your greater why? So my greater why is to inspire people, and simply enough, what am I going to create to achieve that? Well, I'm just going to create whatever the fuck I want, you know? It's kind of a loose answer, but that's what I've been doing for the past 4 years, longer than that, because I've been making music for like 8-9 years, and I've just been creating whatever I want, and I'm slowly achieving that greater why. I've been getting messages of people saying that, you know, my last album has inspired them, or these videos inspire them. And so that type of shit is really cool. And that's how I kind of know I'm out in that right direction. What is your why? What are you going to create to achieve that why? How are you going to create that? So that kind of goes back into this whole create a schedule around your creative goals. And then the final bullet point I have is go create that. That kind of, in my mind, fixes the whole lack of purpose thing. But you got to do some deep diving into your brain to figure that out. I feel like you can't just kind of come up with that on the spot. That's basically how you prevent this. All that we just went over. I hope you had your notebooks out. I really enjoyed talking about this. So if anyone has any questions about creativity, about work, productivity that you want to hear a 22-year-old talk about, let me know. I spent a lot of time on this diagram, so I really hope this was helpful.